Hello guys, please subscribe, like, hit that right now so you don't forget. Also hit that notification bell if you would like notifications whenever I have a new upload. So welcome to Talking News and Chasing a Murderer. Today guys, I am going over the Jennifer Dulos story. I know I covered it when it first came out, but we had so many stories coming out at one time it was hard to keep up with. But the Jennifer Dulos story has so many twists and turns. It is just crazy. And I want to start off by telling you a little bit about the people who are involved with this story. Just to get things started, Jennifer Dulos. She was born September 27th of 1968. She graduated from the Brown University, where she later earned her master's degree in writing from a New York University School of Arts. Jennifer was a stay-at-home mother, and she also wrote a blog. What we are learning about Jennifer, she was an aspiring writer, and she comes from a pretty wealthy family. She started dating a man by the name of Foreclosure Dulos, who was from Greece. He was born August 6th of 1967 and also graduated from Brown University and later earned an MBA in finance from Columbia Business School. Fotis also started his own luxury home developing company. The couple eventually married in 2004, and they married in Manhattan and moved to Farmington, Connecticut, where they started a family and eventually had 5 children, 2 sets of twins and another daughter. Together, like I mentioned before, Jennifer Dulos was an aspiring writer. Fotis is a president and CEO of a prominent luxury home builder company called the Four Group. They say that these two met at Brown University, and it wasn't very long. They were married approximately 13 years before they started having issues. So according to court records, Jennifer Dulos filed for divorce from her husband Fotis Dulos in the state of Superior Court in Sanford on June 20th of 2017. After she filed for divorce, Jennifer left the Farmington home, which she co-owns with her husband, and moved to a rented house in New Canaan. During that time, they had 5 children, including 3 sons, 2 daughters, ranging in the age of 8 to 13. It ended up turning into a very heated divorce and child custody case. And the case had hundreds of motions filed and hearings held since 2017. In addition, a guardian, or ad litem, or also known as GAL, was appointed to represent the children in this case. And the GAL was also requested by Jennifer Dulos, and that's according to court documents. So after some research, finally the attorney Michael Meehan was appointed by the judge after agreement by a couple. So this is in August of 2017. So the appointed ad litem was actually kind of tight-lipped. And it said in a newspaper on this case that they actually tried to hide anything about this part of their divorce. Something went terribly wrong between the two, and it turned into a War of the Roses. If you've never seen that movie, check it out. So in June of 2017, divorce papers were being written up. And this wasn't a clean divorce. It was turning out to be quite nasty. In fact, Jennifer Dulos had some very concerning issues that she wrote in these documents. One of them was an emergency order because she said the last 3 weeks her husband has been acting very strange. I'm going to read it for you. I am afraid of my husband. I know I am filing for divorce, and filing this motion will enrage him. She says, I know he will retaliate by trying to harm me in some way. He has this attitude that he must win at all costs. He is dangerous and ruthless when he believes that he is being wronged. During the course of our marriage, he told me about sickening revenge fantasies and plans to cause physical harms to others who have wronged him. For example, flying a plane over an ex-client's home and dropping a brick on his house. I fear for my family's safety, and I believe him to be highly capable and vengeful enough to take the children and disappear. And you can tell in this writing where she's writing, safety is her number one concern. She is in deep fear and concern for her own life and for the fact that she's scared that he's going to take the children and run. She was reaching out for anyone to help her. But for some reason, the judge didn't seem to take this case as seriously as he or she should have. And lately I've seen too many cases like this, where when the woman's reaching out because of liars and things like that, the judge is afraid to take action. They feel like the evidence just isn't there. It's not like Dulos is going to come out and say, hey, I did threaten to throw a brick out of a plane. Yeah, I did threaten her a little bit. It isn't going to happen. But anyways, on that note, the problem was she was not the only one making accusations saying that they fear for some kind of safety for their children. He was also telling, the court some very crazy things about Dulos. Jennifer continued to reach out to the court system, saying she also said Fotis Dulos made a specific threat to kidnap the children and take them to Greece or to another country. She said he would take all the children and disappear. You will never find us. According to Jennifer, she said he applied for a Greek passport for himself and the children and scheduled an interview with the Greek consulate of New York City. She also said that he had bought a handgun. I am terrified for my family's safety, especially since discovering the gun. Since my husband has a history of controlling, volatile, and delusional behavior. And this was written in an affidavit. According to Jennifer, when Fotis found out that she was aware of the gun, he became enraged. And notice she's not saying mad or angry. She's saying the word enraged. She said he stood inches from her face and berated her, and then he continued to follow her and then follow her upstairs. Jennifer said he then trapped her in the bedroom and was physically intimidating her. Fotis Dulos responded by saying he never physically threatened or stalked or assaulted Jennifer Dulos, and he had never threatened to take the children to Greece. Not only that, he also said that he did not buy a gun in order to threaten her. He voluntarily turned the gun into the Farmington police, according to documents. He said in the court filings he legally purchased the gun because he wanted to learn how to use a firearm just in case he might need to protect his family. Surprisingly, Judge Thomas Collin rejected Jennifer Dulos' request, writing that Jennifer Dulos had not established by a preponderance of evidence that there was an immediate and present risk of physical danger or any other kind of harm to the parties, meaning the children. He then set up a temporary custody plan that included the children staying in New Canaan. And I'm going to share with you what the judge wrote. It is clear that the weeks immediately preceding the filing on this action, the atmosphere in the parties' home deteriorated. The plaintiff was upset over a breakdown of the marriage and what she perceived to be the defendant's controlling and aggressive behavior. The defendant became upset because he felt that he could no longer control the situation, and arguments followed, including the presence of the children. Things were said in anger. However, the court is hopeful that once things settle down and cooler heads prevail, these extremely well-educated and accomplished parents will be able to reach an agreement on a mutually acceptable parenting plan with the assistance of their experienced and talented counsel. And what I find from his action on this case is he found that neither one of these people were believable and were acting childish. He did not take how serious the situation was. Furthermore, he could not understand the fact that these people come from good backgrounds, financially doing very well, are acting in this manner. But in January 2018, after all this happened, Jennifer had also put in another emergency order. The emergency order was for custody of the children. I think I forgot to mention that. So Fotis Dulos responded by saying that his estranged wife has boasted to her children that she could have him hurt, making him pretty much debilitated, by saying that she could have the mafia, well, this is quoted by him, have the mafia break your dad's legs with a baseball bat, end quote. And so the judge handling this was Donna Heller, wrote on March 2018 that there was no credible evidence to support that the defendant's claim that the plaintiff had hired a hitman to break his legs. To the contrary, the evidence supports the conclusion that the defendant fabricated the charge. Now, we do see that they have this very serious issue. She's reaching out, trying to do something legally to find someone to help her. She's in despair. She's scared to death, and she needs help, but she didn't get it. Jennifer Dulos went missing in Connecticut on May 24th of 2019. She was only 50 years old at the time of her disappearance. May 24th, she had dropped her children off at the New Canaan Country School. That same day, she missed a doctor's appointment in New York City, and 2 of her friends reported her as missing that evening. At first, they treated it as a missing persons, but in the background, authorities suspected that she was killed in a violent attack in her home in New Canaan. And the reason why is that same night, the day she disappeared, the police found blood, which they later discovered belonged to Jennifer, in her New Canaan home. According to investigators, they also found some evidence that Jennifer was a victim of a very serious assault. And more interestingly, Fotis Dulos and his girlfriend Michelle Dragonis were captured on video dumping garbage bags which contained Jennifer's blood and 30 trash bins in Hartford, Connecticut. It was a while later that they found Jennifer's car in Waveney, I hope I say this right, Waveney Park in New Canaan. We must not forget that there was plenty of motive there, yet Fotis, his attorney, will say later on that, what was the motive? Well, the motive was this horrible, violent divorce that they were going through, and the dispute of the custody of the proceedings for the children who were currently living with Jennifer. When this all happened, the children ended up being put in the custody of Jennifer's mother, Gloria Farber. And that is temporary custody, if I can speak. Good Lord, I get tongue twisted sometimes trying to do these. So as time moved on, we learned more about this case, and we found out that Fotis Dulos had been what police suspect lying in wait for Jennifer and attacked her when she arrived at her home after dropping her kids off to school. Then he took all the garbage bags containing the items of Jennifer Dulos's blood on them and, kind of threw them away in 100 different garbage bins. Need we not forget that Jennifer felt so threatened that she filed a restraining order against her husband. Most women who fear for their life do these things. They file restraining orders not because they're being hugged to death. They do it because they are in fear that their life is being threatened or they are going to get hurt. And why the judge didn't take this more seriously is because Fotis Dulos was playing her mental health against her. He was using that against her to get leverage. Dulos had actually tried to run her over in an SUV, according to court documents. His response to that is that she's crazy. Why don't you take another pill? She's on antidepressants and anxiety medication. And that's just, the judge should have caught on right then and there when you prey on a weakness. Somebody that you supposedly love, that's a form of trying to hurt and abuse someone. Clearly, if he felt threatened by her mental health, that she was dangerous, that he could have approached it in a different manner, but he didn't. He did it in a threatening, very aggressive way, which is a clear sign that he is vile. Now, this story has a lot of detail, and I would have to do many, many parts in order to cover every single bit of it, but I'm trying to touch a little bit on everything. We do know that Fotis Dulos was seeing a girl while he was married to Jennifer. Trigonis is also a person of interest after Jennifer Dulos disappears. It wasn't long before investigators were making, 2 arrests. So what were the charges and evidence? So the charges stem from the video surveillance footage that the police said shows the 2 people resembling Fotis Dulos and Trigonis making more than 30 stops in a 4-mile stretch in Hartford the night of Jennifer's disappearance. They actually went and recovered some of those trash bags, and they contained the clothing and Jennifer and cleaning up supplies along with his wife's blood. And that's according to the arrest warrant. For the sink, police said there were signs that Jennifer Dulos was the victim of a serious physical assault based on evidence found in her garage, and said that Fotis Dulos' DNA was also found mixed with his wife's blood on a faucet on a sink. So this evidence would lead to Dulos and Trigonis to be arrested in June and then again in September in the connection of the disappearance of Jennifer Dulos. Now, what investigators are saying is when they did get a search warrant and they went through everything, they said the scene appeared to have been cleaned up. What is pretty fascinating is the fact that Trigonis, the girlfriend of Dulos, provided some evidence in this that made police think that Dulos was lying in wait at his wife's home the day she went missing. But Fotis Dulos says that he maintained that he had nothing to do with it and that she may still be alive. Now, I do want to mention the fact that we believe that finances probably played a huge role in May 8th of 2019, one of the most recent claims from Jennifer Dulos. She filed a motion for contempt, claiming that her estranged husband filed improper and misleading financial affidavits. The motion states that he seeks to hide the true value of the business entity, which is known as the Four Group Inc., of which he has a sole shareholder, which is also his altered ego and identity of interest. And Jennifer Dulos' attorney, said that the defendant continues to conceal the value of the Four Group Inc. So the financial was another issue. And to me, the financial part plays a big role as to why she might have disappeared. So Jennifer Dulos requested that Fotis Dulos provide full and unlimited access to the books, records, and the ESI, or the employee state insurance, of his personal and corporate finances. And he objected to that motion. So let's not forget when Jennifer moved close to her mom, she claimed that Fotis threatened her that he wasn't going to follow the rules that was stipulated and supposedly agreed upon through the courts, and that he would come to visit her and the children whenever he pleased. So this is things that was happening before she disappeared, according to Jennifer. Now, because I'm running out of time, I'm going to have to go ahead and jump to what's happening right now. Since Dulos' disappearance, he has been in and out of jail. He's posted bond, and we're finding out that he posted bond on property that one piece of property at least, was going into foreclosure in December. And his legal team actually filed a counterclaim on January 10th of 2020 on the foreclosure lawsuit for the Jefferson Crossing home in Farmington. According to this article, the foreclosure notice was first filed in September, and Dulos is suing for damages and any relief the court seems fair. According to Fox 61, they learned last year that Jennifer Dulos' mother, Gloria Farber, had been paying monthly mortgage and property taxes on this home. Farber had been even paying the mortgage and taxes when Fotis and his girlfriend, Michelle DeCronis, were living there. Fotis is seen in court, during the civil court, claiming that Gloria made a deal with him and that she should continue to pay some of these. I'm not sure. I don't have time to go into exactly what it is, but I think they were saying she was paying her along the lines of $14,000 a month for something. Point is he said in court that, he's owed that money, and kind of chuckled. And they asked him, Mr. Dulos, do you think this is funny? And he said no. So right now, the Wells Lane home that Jennifer was living in when she disappeared is listed and is on the market for sale. So right now, a motion was filed last month and was posted to the state judicial website on Tuesday. The Savings Bank of Danbury is seeking about close to $3 million that it claims that Dulos owes on this 5-bedroom, 7-bathroom home that his company, the Four Group Inc., built. I guess it's in Sturbridge Hill Road in New Canaan. I think it's a year-old home. Now, just recently, Fotis Dulos appeared in court, and that was on Thursday, and the judge has changed the conditions of his release to strict house arrest. This decision was issued after prosecutors filed a motion saying Dulos violated terms of his release by getting out of his car and removing items from the memorial for his missing wife, Jennifer Dulos. And outside of the court Thursday, his attorney, Norm Pattis, said that he was disappointed in that decision. Pattis has also been seeking to waive the probable cause hearing on charges connected to the disappearance of Jennifer. Okay, so this week, Fotis Dulos was due in court and he was late. This triggered a welfare check, and responding officers went out to his house, looked through a window to see that Dulos was sitting in his car and had obvious signs of medical distress, according to the police. It was obvious that Dulos was attempting suicide. And like I said, I'm not going to be able to cover in great detail. We're running out of time here. I want to run some clips for you guys. A lot of people were very shocked to know this, but I wasn't. I'm telling you that Michelle Troconis plays a lot bigger role in this case than what people realize. Anyway, so police rushed out to his house. They pulled him out of his car and started CPR while they waited on emergency and ambulance to respond. And what we heard is they were given CPR for about 10 to 15 minutes before they finally arrived on site. Here's a clip.
If you were joining us at the top of the noon broadcast around 12:05, we actually witnessed on air through our drone video a CPR attempt going on. We are now hearing from multiple sources that Fotis Dulos, the accused murderer in the case of the murder of his estranged wife, Jennifer Dulos, that he is dead. We had heard.
That's right, guys. You guys heard the media jump that quick like they do so many times to say that he was dead. Now, he was dead, guys, for a course. I mean, that's why he's getting CPR. But he's not dead, and where he's going to be buried the next week or so. So they're trying to save his life. So yeah, thanks to media like that. I understand mistakes, but that clearly wasn't a mistake. That was just being dramatized. So here's a clip of what really happened.
Tuesday afternoon, after officers found him unresponsive, sitting in his running vehicle in the garage of his Farmington, Connecticut home. Police were sent to check on Dulos after he failed to show up for a bond hearing that could have sent him back to jail, pending trial for the alleged murder of his wife.
All right, guys, so there's good news coverage for you. But they ended up, you could see where they were giving him CPR, and that's not usually something I would show, but I did want to show you that indeed was happening. And they ended up bringing, out of respect, doesn't matter if he's a murderer or not, tents over to cover him as they continue to work trying to save this man's life. Now I want to share what police had to say.
When officers responded, they could see through a window that Mr. Dulos was sitting in his vehicle and he had obvious signs of medical distress.
Now guys, this is something I want to stress to you. You see that police officer, he was traumatized. I seen it. He was very devastated by whatever he witnessed there. It was horrifying to him, and I feel so bad for police officers when they go in this line of work. They're not really expecting, I mean they do, but they don't expect to see things that are going to touch them in a way that might affect them for the rest of their life. But I hope he gets a little bit of help, because you could tell he was just completely upset, which I'll show you later. So they ended up having drones fly over this property, trying to capture everything they could. And like he mentions, they had to put tents and stuff over, tried to hide this man while they're trying to save his life. Okay, guys, one more clip here.
Being transferred via medical helicopter to New York City, doctors say he could suffer permanent damage.
Once the heart has been damaged, once the brain has been without enough oxygen for too long, there can be irreversible symptoms.
Dulos.
A lot of people are wondering exactly what happened. And, you know, how bad is he? According to them, they're saying that he is in a dire situation, very critical. And right now they have family that are coming in from Greece. So that doesn't sound good. Of course, a lot of people feel that he's getting what he's to deserve and just let him go. But I do believe in the justice system, and I think we have to leave it up to that. But people do not believe that the family should have a right to come in. And there was an article somewhere that supported that, but I lost it. I don't know where it went. Okay, guys, I'm reaching my limit right here. I'm going to try to squeeze in a little bit more. Right now, he's still in the hospital in critical condition, like I mentioned. We don't know if he's going to pull out of it. We don't know what's going on, and we don't know how long he was without oxygen. It sounds like maybe with the family coming in, they're coming in to make that decision of whether or not to keep fighting. And of course, we'll find out that once all that starts to happen. I'm not saying that's what it is, but it sounds like it. One more clip here that tells you who all is involved with this case.
His former girlfriend, Michelle Troconis, and his former attorney, Kent Maloney, were also arrested. Both are charged with conspiracy to commit murder for allegedly helping Dulos cover up the suspected crime. Maloney's lawyer says the state does not have enough evidence.
Look at the warrant. I struggle to find the case that the state will eventually prove here.
Now, if Dulos does suffer some sort of permanent health damage, that could ultimately impact his trial later this year if he is deemed unable to participate in his own defense. Of course, he is facing life in prison on this murder charge. He has insisted in his innocence. Meanwhile, Anthony, the couple's 5 children are in the care of Jennifer's mother.
Yeah, another twist in this already tragic story.
Okay, guys, so what happens if Dulos doesn't make it through and he does go deceased? Well, what will happen most likely is they will go on with the trial, and now the girlfriend and the other guy, I don't remember his name, that you just seen, it'll be whoever pins who first. And well, that's going to be another go around as well. There's no doubt that somebody's got to pay for this horrific crime. I do feel very bad for her mother. Of course, I always feel bad for the parents and the children, because who suffers through all this is the children. So anyways, guys, I've got to close this out. I want to say thanks so much for watching. I love you guys so much. I really do hope that this case, I hope justice prevails. It's so hard to get justice these days. Anyways, guys, see you soon.